You guys are fancy in here. Oh, look at, hi, oh my, okay.
Okay, so like Mayor Wu, A.G. Campbell started her political career on the Boston City Council. You guys overlapped for quite a few
Absolutely,
years.
yes.
So
Also pregnant at the same time
right.
with our second kid. Yes, we go way back.
So Andrea represented Dorchester, Mattapan, and like Wu, like the mayor, you became pregnant twice while on the council, and then you ran for attorney general, and you won, and you were sworn in January 2023, breaking barriers as the first Black woman and the first working mother. Did I get that right in the role? Are you possibly the first working mother as AG? I had your staff confirm that. There's only 2 other women.
Yes. I have to stop looking around because I'm giving shout outs to people. Yes. So Martha didn't have kids. And then our governor, at least at the time, didn't, but now does through, of course, her relationship. So I guess the answer is yes. Hadn't actually looked at it in that way.
So we're going to be talking today about a topic that you've been working on, and it's related to your values as a parent. Turns out reining in social media is an issue for working moms. And as a parent of can you believe I have a tween and a teen now? 12-year-old and 14-year-old boys.
You're so young and fabulous. Just stand in that.
I'm old, I feel old. So I can't wait to dive into this topic because my kids are glued to their cell phones and YouTube. So I have a few questions again for A.G. Campbell, and those of you online can send in questions through the chat function. Also, there's a QR code on the screen. You can. They're here, they're online. There's hundreds of them online watching us. So please send in your questions and I'll work them into the conversation. But I ask you to please stay on topic about technology use and kids. So there are many issues you can take on as AG, but you chose to take on social media giants and you sued them. You sued TikTok, Meta, and Instagram for basically making their products too addictive to young users. Why? I mean, why is this so important to you?
First of all, thank you for having me. It's great to be here with all of you. Y'all all look fabulous, whatever amount of kids you have, or no kids, you're all in the family. So just thank you for having me. Thank you for showing up. So a couple of reasons. One, this is an issue that everyone should care about. I think technology, emerging technology, and ensuring, one, that it is not only safe, but also used responsibly, and that there are some type of accountability when that is not the case, is in effect, should be important to all of us, whether you have kids or not, because it's going to affect this generation and the generations to come. So I, along with several other AGs, and frankly, this is probably the only area, sadly, where you have Republicans and Democrats working together. Over 40 states came together to file this lawsuit against TikTok and Meta and Instagram to hold these companies accountable for the harms that they are causing to our young people via these platforms. And what harms am I talking about? Uptick in depression, anxiety, self-harm, especially for young girls. And so we are looking to hold them accountable with this lawsuit. And while it's multi-state, we're playing a critical role through my office, but also a team that is dedicated to privacy and protection, also responsible technology in all of its forms. We also have a youth advisory council, which is inaugural to the office, so young people informing the work. And I probably just passed over that and I shouldn't have, but when you think about a youth advisory council informing the work, the office has been around for centuries. And never have we had a young people or a group of young people informing the work we do, even though it affects them, which I thought was really important to change that whole dynamic and to empower them. So they are a part of this. And the thing I want to stress is the companies will say, well, it's the young person's responsibility or the parent's responsibility. And I say, no, that's BS. And why is that? They design the apps. They design the technology. Only they have the power, the ability, and access to go behind the technology to change algorithms, to change the design of those systems so they are more supportive of our young people, more user-friendly, and most importantly, the accountability tools that they have, like age verification, prolonged use so that does not happen, all the things they say are safe, that actually happens. That's not a parent's responsibility. A young person, good luck trying to fix the app from your phone. You just can't do that. And so this is critical work that we hope everyone will follow, and we'll keep folks updated as we continue the lawsuits, which we know can take a long time, but we're still actively working on those even today.
I mean, this must be on some level personal for you. I mean, your boys are 5 and 7, maybe not quite, certainly they probably don't have their own cell phones, but they probably are familiar with technology or iPads and the allure of these apps. So talk about that, why, about your own experiences motivating you.
So I am a mom of 2 beautiful boys. So I often say everything I do is informed by not just being AG, but also being a wife and also being a mom and a God-fearing one. And I stress that because, thank you, because I'm praying every day, all day. It's just really important these days. Just saying. I'm up real early, praying for all of us. It used to be 6, now it feels like it's 5:45, 4:45. It's dark out. But I stress that everything I do, I don't go into the office and leave that part of my identity or another part of my identity of who I am. I would hope everyone in this room brings their full self into their workplace to inform everything they do. And if you cannot do that, then you better find a new workplace, because I think it's so important to inform the solutions and what we prioritize. That Youth Advisory Council would not have happened if I didn't say I want young people informing what we do. We can't be talking about social media platforms, and I'm looking around the room, and we're all adults. And some of us don't even know what the newest platform even is. We can't, of course, do the work of saying we're going to prioritize young people in our strategic plan, not have young people inform it, but most importantly, not attach action steps to what we're going to do to help them. So social media is one significant place where we're doing just that, and through other parts of the work too, prioritizing everything having to do with young people, with the hopes that we do it in collaboration with parents, school administrators, educators, those in our healthcare institutions, and so much more.
I mean, do you talk to your kids about being on their screens too much?
Well, my kids don't have cell phones, and I'm going to keep it that way for some time. Because
as long as you can, please.
Yes, and also we drop them off to school. My husband picks up. We have a whole system. So I'm like, we know where you are, and if you aren't there, then that's a problem, especially at 5 and 7. But I do recognize every family is different. And as we enter teenage years or even younger years, we're looking at middle school in particular, we should all be concerned about the access to technology. And this isn't even just in the context of social media. You think about sports betting, now available. We have a whole youth sports betting coalition with all the major teams here in New England who are part of this work of developing a curriculum to be able to educate our young people as early as middle school on what betting means, the risk of that, saying it's lawful here in Massachusetts, but how do you do it responsibly and safely, not avoid the conversation. We'll have to have the same conversation soon when it comes to the lottery, which will soon be online and available through your phone, which we already know is addictive. So we're getting ahead of a lot of this to say it can be responsible, it can be safe. There are absolutely risks associated with it, including an uptick in alcoholism, all types of mental health concerns, economic concerns, you name it, any type of addiction. So we want our folks to be educated. So it's just really important that we have a holistic approach to this work and include as many stakeholders as possible.
So besides legal action against these companies, the other tool in your toolbox is legislation. And you made headlines in January when you filed a bill that would ban cell phone use during school hours.
Some people are like, I don't really know. Just hold on that.
So what made you decide to take this approach?
It's the only approach. Frankly, it's like with seatbelts. For a while, people were like, don't you tell me what to do with my seatbelt in my car. Excuse me, nothing cool about putting on a seatbelt. And yet, Government, along with public health officials, so many stakeholders had to step up and say, we're doing what's necessary to protect our people. Here, it is incumbent upon adults to do what's necessary to protect our kids. The onus shouldn't be on the kids. And so some of the pushback, and I'll say that pushback in a loving way, because it's been not overwhelming, it's actually been thoughtful, of people like, well, if there is some public safety issue at school, what about having a phone in the hands of young people? And I say, I understand that, but it's our job to keep them safe. Not for them to suddenly be public safety officials, educators, working with folks to reduce bullying or harassment that they're seeing on their phones. That's our jobs. And so the study is crystal clear in a few ways. One is it recognizes that the litigation against social media companies, or any company, takes a long time. It will be effective, but it takes time, and we need solutions right now. And so one tool that we have outside of just going to court is going to the State House and filing legislation with our partners there. And I'm really proud to be in partnership with Representative Alice Peisch. So if you live in her community, give her a shout out. Senator Julian Sear and Rep. Kate Lipper-Garabedian. All three of them are amazing in this work, and they're partnering with us because they recognize you need help in a legislative fix. So the legislation does three critical things. One is it says we have to ban cell phones, not in some 9 to 5 or 8 to 3. There's a few school districts that have policies, but we have to make it standard. And the easiest way is to say bell to bell, when you're in school, you should be learning. You should not be on your phone. Educators should not be the cell phone police, which we're seeing in some school districts. This is why the Teachers Association and so many others are supporting us in this legislation. School administrators the same. In addition to that, you need uniformity. And so if we make it crystal clear, it's bell to bell, you're not confused, no school district is confused. And we would actually give resources through grants, which we're able to do to help our school districts. The second is mandating that school districts develop a curriculum. What are the benefits of social media? And we have heard there are some benefits. Connection, networks, being able to find a job, those in our LGBTQ plus community, which frankly right now, critical that they have a network on a platform. Get that, totally understand that, critical benefits. Then there are also the downsides that I mentioned earlier. There should be a curriculum, an active curriculum to explain that, like we're doing in the sports betting context and other contexts. And then lastly, it also pulls in our litigation from our social media companies into this legislation. We're telling social media companies, we're not waiting for a lawsuit that can take a really long time. We're asking you, through our state legislation, to make changes, and we can actually get them to make the changes that we want via a lawsuit, which will take too long, through state legislation, which means that if all of us voice our support for the Study Act to our elected representatives, it gives us an opportunity to not only push this to passage really quickly, but to then use this legislation to hold social media companies accountable for how we want them to be accountable. So for example, they say they have age verification. Young people can work around that if they don't change that. Prolonged use, they say they can, stop that. We want to make sure that actually works. TikTok in particular, the algorithm looks very different in China. If a young girl searches for something around health, beauty, you get healthy, something healthy in response, something encouraging. You can do a similar search right here on TikTok, you get completely opposite, negative, even eating disorders, other things that are not helpful. TikTok in China actually has restrictions on when and how long you can use it. Why wasn't that introduced the same way here in this country? So we're pushing these companies to answer some questions that parents often can't ask on their own directly with the companies. But this really empowers you if you engage with your elected officials on the Study Act to say, what's the status of this? I want to voice my support. It will be a big help in being able to hold them accountable while not looking to get rid of them because we know of some of the benefits they bring.
So you mentioned this youth council earlier. So what has been the reaction from kids about your efforts to rein in social media and institute a cell phone ban?
They love it. And sadly, we are seeing an uptick through our Civil Rights Division, the other parts of the office. The number of bullying, complaints, harassment every ism that you can think about. I mean, right here in Massachusetts, in Southwick, I can name it because it's been public, we had a group of students create a mock slave auction to auction off some of their fellow black classmates. And I had the opportunity not only to engage with some folks involved, but our office, through our Children's Justice Unit, worked hand in hand with the school district, the NAACP, and many other organizations, including those we would deem perpetrators, but who clearly need some work on their heart, mind, and everything else. A holistic approach to make sure there were mechanisms in place to hold folks accountable even before it gets to that point. Because clearly, if you're doing that, other things happen previous. And so that work in many ways highlights, I think, and represents the divisions that exist here in Massachusetts and the country, the hate that exists. So how can we each play a role in combating that? And so the young people on our Youth Advisory Council and many others who have been in touch with us know that many of these complaints and concerns around harassment and bullying happen on their phones, chats, while they're in the classroom, and then lead to something else. And young people can't see it. Educators can't see it. They don't have time to engage. Give me your phone and tell me what's on it, and then think about what's the discipline I have to dish out. So we have a role to play, and we're playing that role while not demonizing, but working with. And the Study Act is one way I think young people also see a way in which to voice their support. And it was our Youth Advisory Council that also encouraged us to keep going ahead, even as we had a few parents, some, and maybe even some in this room, who are skeptical about a bell-to-bell ban.
So one of the things I appreciate about your approach to holding big tech accountable is that it sends a powerful message to parents and kids that we're not in this fight alone. And I'll be honest, if I had more energy, you know, maybe my kids wouldn't be on their cell phones watching YouTube. I would be there, you know, quote unquote entertaining them or doing something with them. You know, but I'm tired. I'm a working mom. You get it. So if you succeed with your lawsuits and your legislation, and you're truly able to rein in technology, the harms of technology, what does this world look like for us?
First of all, I love the question and the frame, because I often get, if you're successful as AG, what would you have done? What would you have accomplished? I think we all think about this legacy. And I don't frequently think about that. I got work to do. We're really busy. And as you all know, we are really busy. There's a lot going on. I will just stress everything for kids. Because I remember, you know, I grew up down the street, very poor, with very little monetarily. And as many folks in this room know my story, all of my biological parents are deceased. All of my biological grandparents are deceased. Have an older brother now incarcerated, another loved one incarcerated, twin brother dies while in the custody of a prison system. So the list of just the trauma. But what gives me such joy, and that's my middle name, so I carry that everywhere I go, and what sustains me is my faith, and also just being around good human beings and good people, is this idea that there is power that each of us has to do something, and we're here for some purpose. And if mine truly is to be the AG of everybody, to work hard on your behalf, and never to humble myself in this experience, it is a blessing to be your AG. But it would mean nothing that I was the first Black woman, the first person maybe with that type of background to have this seat in this position if I did nothing with it, if I didn't push the envelope in terms of what was possible and what we could get done. And at the end of the day, what is that? It is breaking cycles of poverty, criminalization, mediocrity, whatever the cycle is you want to break for your kids and their kids' kids or somebody else's kids. That's what it's about for me. And I know I've started that with my two boys, and I want to do the same for everyone else's kid. Regardless of your demographic, where you come from, as parents, we're all struggling in different ways to do the best for our kids, to make sure they can thrive and prosper and reach their dreams and accomplish them. And so for me, it's really pushing the envelope on what I can use this office for to help kids and young people to break those cycles. And that drives me every single day. And if anything, I have to remind myself why I do the work. Because in the midst of all this noise, you can forget your why. And you're just going about your day looking fabulous, but you're still like, where am I going? Look fabulous, and then be like, okay, I'm going somewhere with some intention and some purpose. And I never forget that.
I have a couple more questions.
Thank you.
So again, we're in a room with close to 300 working moms, and in your role as AG, you spend a lot of time crisscrossing the state. So how do you balance motherhood and this really big job that you have?
I don't do it all and don't pretend and try to do it all. Absolutely not. I'm blessed to have a husband who is a partner, friend, bestie, all the things. I've known him since I was 19 years old. Whew. And I'm still in my young 40s, young and fabulous, but he knows a lot. And so just a partner in the work. And for those of us in this room who are blessed to have a partner and a husband in the work, it is a blessing. And as I come across other moms who are like doing it on their own as a single, or any single parent, single guardian, caregiver, I'm like, God bless y'all. So I'm praying for them too. So I have a partner. And if you don't have a partner, you got to find one. You have to find a support system. Really important. It doesn't have to be some, romantic thing. I'm just saying you have to find somebody. Single parents out there have to find somebody. And so who is that person? It's really important. And someone who's trustworthy, who loves you and your kids. And that can be a really good friend. And so I'm blessed to have that. I'm also blessed to have an aunt, uncle who are my parent figures. And my aunt, who I call my mom, for a long time lived directly across the street from her, but we call her Milady. That's a whole separate conversation. But who is a support system too, offers wise counsel, is an elder, a believer, all the things that you would need to sustain yourself. I also try to attach to women who are in the workforce, who have a whole bunch of kids. And I'm like, how you do it? Many in this room I know very well, and I'm like, they can do it. I'm like, oh, I can do it. I prioritize my time. I don't like to waste time. So people say, oh, hour-long meeting. Oh, no. It takes an hour to talk about what? Oh, no, 15 minutes will handle it? We got 15 minutes. My time, your time is valuable. And for a long time, and maybe until I got this job, I realized how valuable it is. Our time is worth more than money. It is valuable. If we're taking time away from our kids, our friends, our loved ones, it better be spent in a way that moves the work forward, the agenda forward, is there to uplift someone, to attend birthdays, whatever it is. And so when I wake up in the morning, I don't first turn on my phone and look at the news. No. I am straight to washing my face, brushing my teeth, putting in cold water, sometimes an ice cube. And then I'm praying, I'm doing some exercise, I'm looking at, okay, what am I gonna eat for the day? I'm doing those things that feed me. And then I still don't turn it on immediately. I'm then with my kids, getting them dressed, getting breakfast, all the things, because I know that feeds me to then go out into the world. So just prioritizing your time. And I also feel like leading my office of close to 700 people in Boston, New Bedford, Springfield, Worcester. We have regional offices in those locations. Modeling this is really important. I want folks to be remote. I started my day not looking like this. I had no makeup on. I had sneakers on, sweatpants. They weren't even cute leggings. They were just sweatpants. A hoodie situation. Internal meeting with my Gov Bureau team. Some were going to court later on. I said, y'all look good. Because that worked for me. Why? Because I got to my exercise late, so that's how I showed up. Fine. It gives also the freedom to my team. If you're virtual, why do you have a suit on? I said, where are you going? Are you going to court today? I'm like, you look fabulous. You have a bun on your head. Did you do some exercise? Good for you. I think flexibility everywhere is important. Working moms need flexibility. So if you're virtual, if you don't have to wear a suit every day, and some people look, Linda always looks fabulous. I'm just saying, I'm like, come as you are sometimes. You just need to come as you are. So that flexibility in the fullest sense is important, not only to model, but to create that space for your team. And then to also have flexible policies, giving people time to work remote. I encourage my team members, you have someone who's dying in your family, I'm sorry, why are you in this office? Goodbye. And if we truly have a team, then if a person is out, another team member should be able to cover. So this idea of, oh, I don't go on vacation, that is not a badge of honor for me. You need vacation. You need time with your family. If you're losing a loved one, you need to be with that person. I don't want my team to have any regrets. And so that flexibility in the broadest sense, and I think if we model it, then the easy part is pushing for policies and others to have the same, but we need to model it. And I'll just have to add this, as maybe a little political, and I'm sorry to all y'all, but one way in which we model and the flexibility and do that work is through the lens of DEIA policies, dare I name it.
All right, last question. I know you got to run.
Did I get too political?
So you have your lawsuits, you have your legislation, but what about now? Do you have any advice for parents who are struggling right now with their kids' use of social media and addiction to cell phones and devices?
Number one, I would say if you're not following us at all on social media and you are on social media and your kids are, at Mass AGO, you can pull out your phone now when you leave, follow us. We put out so much critical information and neutral non-political information, just basic information. And let me tell you right now, all y'all need some information. There's a lot going on in the world. So if you could follow us. The second is, I talked about the Study Act quite a bit. This is important because even as we try to get it out with obviously the Globe and many others, many media outlets to lift up the work we're doing, it can be hard. There's a lot of news to carry these days. But the Study Act is one way for you to advocate because that legislation passes, it brings about change immediately to social media companies in ways in which none of us can do. There is power in that advocacy. And I know sometimes people say, oh, go to the State House, lobby for this and that. You think, oh, this is a waste of my time. I don't have time. I'm a busy mom. This is worth it. I would not say it if it wasn't a good use of time because of the ripple effect it would have for your kids, their friends, and so many others. The last piece is having these open conversations with the young people. I think spending that time, and I think it's important to find it. Hey, what you doing on what you doing on your phone? Just curious, what are you looking at? Just every once in a while, just sort of peering in, peeking in. And I don't have teenagers, but obviously Youth Advisory Council is revealing a lot. Just occasionally checking in, right? Some people probably in this audience a little bit more creative have created accounts where they're following their kid and seeing everything. Okay, if you know how to do that, do it. To have honest conversations and authentic conversations. One thing that is really important to me as I connect with young people, they can read through all type of BS. They want authenticity. They know we can't do it all. They want honest, authentic conversation. I think through our office, we do that to pull them into the work. Otherwise, they're like, why am I here? And some came in just, rolling eyes. But you build trust. So if you feel like you're not that, our office could be that. We have a community engagement division that loves engaging with young people. We're also trying to figure out how we do this on the external side of the office too. But get in touch with us. And then there are so many organizations that support young people, that do a lot with young people. You think about the breadth of organizations that you're interacting with. As we're signing up for summer camps, these trusted adults that we're putting our kids with, they also can be a bridge that maybe we just can't close, or you're like, this kid does not understand me today. Whatever it is, don't forget that network of people that we're blessed to be in interaction with, as that may be the person that shifts things. For me, in many ways growing up, it was my teachers. It was my double Dutch coach. It was the Girl Scout leader. Come to find out, Girl Scouts wasn't even real. It was not the official Girl Scouts. It was a volunteer from Northeastern University coming to my middle school to bring us to New Hampshire and then calling it Girl Scouts. It was a legitimate program, but it wasn't quite Girl Scouts. But this woman is still connected to my life years later, and we ran into each other, but it tells you she had such an imprint on me as a young girl when I was going through some really horrific things. And maybe I didn't share all those things directly, but her being there made a game changer in terms of my development. So this network that we may have around us that maybe we feel shame or fear around asking to help, don't. because we all need help. None of us got here by ourselves. None of us can get to where we're supposed to be or go by ourselves. And with the madness of the world, as I already described, it's a dark time in many ways for many folks in this very room. I'm not going to discount that. We're smiling today and laughing. There's real fear even in this room. So I don't want to discount that. That is very real for people in this room. Know that you have a fighter in me on behalf of all of you who will never leave a value system behind, who will always lift up the power of women, the historical context of what women were able to do to create this space that we are all sitting in right now. Think about it. Some years or centuries ago, someone would have came in here and tried to arrest some of us for being together in fellowship and partnership. So rely on that historical context, rely on us, and we can win any battle that comes our way.
Well, A.G. Campbell, thanks you for being here with us today. This is amazing.
Thank you all so very much.
We are counting on you to get our kids off their devices, all right? Thank you.